wondering how I can, because teaching means I have to make sure that the students understand. And so when I teach, usually I allow the students to ask questions whenever they want. They raise hand and then I deal with that. But
if you want, we can have the same here. Devotees can raise their virtual hands, and apart from that, they can also ask in the WhatsApp group. We can have you in the group.
Okay, let's try it out. It's only 5 days, and there are 55 participants, and we'll pray to God for help. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamshcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sargana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parjana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sargana Lalita Shri Vishakhanutamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinavane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Sundanadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vedanta Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, since this is supposed to be a discussion on Sri Isopanishad for in 5 sessions, what I intend to do is I will read out from Isopanishad text, maybe 4 or 5 mantras in one session, and in between I will also read out a translation of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary on it, and certain portions of Prabhupada's commentary. And in that way, let's see if anyone has any question, you should raise your hand, and I should be able to see it. How do I see it?
If anyone has any question, you mean that?
Yes, I'm just a little bit lost with my 2 different devices.
Okay, what we can do is I can like prompt you whenever someone raises his hand. Okay.
Okay. Okay. What I did was I opened the chat box in my screen to the right. If someone has a question, you raise your hand, but also you can put a message here saying I have a question or something, or question or something like that, so that I get an idea. In case I don't understand who has raised their hand. Okay, so let's begin. Prabhupada's edition of Isopanishad begins with the standard invocation. This invocation appears not just before Isopanishad, but in some other places also, before some other Upanishads also it appears. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as his phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is a complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains a complete balance. Do one thing. So. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur has not explained this verse because it's not technically speaking a part of Isopanishad as such. But Prabhupada has explained it. Here Prabhupada has explained it in this manner, that this is referring to the emanation of the material world from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's another explanation Prabhupada gives in one of his purports in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which follows the explanation of Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan, that you have the original form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Swayam Bhagavan. From him, various Vishnu Tattvas emanate. each and every one of them is Purnam, perfect. So even though they come out of Swayam Bhagavan is not lost. He remains perfect. And even when they enter back into him, still he's the same. That explanation also Prabhupada is given. Okay, let me move on to Mantra 1. There's a translation of a summary by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. This document I have sent it to Param Sundar Prabhu.
I'll share it in the group.
He shared it with all the students, all the participants.
Sure.
This is a translation of Baladev Vidyabhushan's commentary. Since it's too intricate, I will not take it up. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur's explanation, I'll take it up. He wrote in Bengali, but this is my English translation of that. After creating the universe by his own energy, the Supreme Lord has entered into every aspect of it by the influence of his energy. O Jiva, you are also a particular substance, Tattva, who has emanated from his energy. No, this is actually his explanation of the first verse. So let me go to the first verse. This is, here is Isopanishad proper. Mantra 1. Ishavasyamidam sarvam. Yat kinchit jagatyam jagat. Tena tyaktena bhunjitha. Ma ghridah kasya svidhanam. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota. And one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. The idea is that everything that we have belongs to the Supreme Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu. We ourselves belong to him, and everything that we have also belongs to him. Okay, let me read this. Bhaktivinoda. After creating the universe by his own energy, the Supreme Lord has entered into every aspect of it by the influence of his energy. So he has entered into it. Ishavasyamitam sarvam. Everything is pervaded by him, everything is controlled by him. He has entered into everything. That's how he controls it. O Jiva, you're also a particular substance, Tattva, who has emanated from his energy. He's the supreme soul. You are a soul. Therefore, in consideration of your spiritual nature, none other than him can be yours. So the idea is, we ourselves belong to Krishna. And Krishna also belongs to us. Nothing or no one other than Krishna belongs, is our property. You seem to have mistaken your identity and you consider everything other than yourself to be something else. Therefore, you have accepted selfish enjoyment. But if you establish a relationship between all objects and the Supreme Soul and give up your selfishness, you won't have to consider all sense objects to be others' wealth. Offer everything to the menial service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and accept whatever you take for your subsistence as a mercy bestowed by the Supreme Lord upon you. Then everything becomes spiritual. So this is the Vedic foundation for the principle of Yukta Vairagya. Anasaktasya vishayan yatharham upayunjataha nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyam uchyate. When we accept material objects without attachment, anasaktasya vishayan yatharham upayunjataha, to the extent they are required. Yatharham, to the extent they are required, not more than that. So even though we may be internally free from detachment, still externally also, Rupa Goswami, in accordance with the teachings of the Vedic scriptures, says, we accept to the extent they deserve to be accepted. Yatharham upayunjataha. Nirbandha Krishna sambandhe. And we should be firmly determined, even then, to only accept those items that are in relationship with Lord Krishna. Yuktam vairagyam uchyate. This is appropriate vairagya. Prabhupada, in his explanation, points out that the Supreme Lord is the proprietor over everything in the universe, because everything in this world belongs to either his Paraprakriti or Aparaprakriti. There is nothing in the universe that does not belong to either the Para or the Aparaprakriti. Therefore, everything is the property of the Supreme Being. Because the Supreme Being, the absolute personality of Godhead, is the complete person, he has complete and perfect intelligence to adjust everything by means of his different potencies. One should therefore be intelligent enough to know that except for the Lord, no one is a proprietor of anything. One should accept only those things that are set aside by the Lord as his quota. So we have this consideration of quota. We are allowed to use certain things according to our position. Now here the consideration of what varna and what ashrama will apply. Corresponding to our position, corresponding our gender and our position, there are different considerations. First consideration is a spiritual consideration. We are eternal servants of Krishna, so everything should be utilized for his pleasure, which means everything should be utilized in Bhakti Yoga in such a manner that we can progress in Bhakti Yoga. The second consideration is based on our material situation. That is also, if we follow the rules and regulations of material dharma, automatically our entire life will become more compatible with the principles of Bhakti Yoga. The principles of Bhakti Yoga means Vairagya, Vidya, Bhakti. So everything will get adjusted naturally. One must be satisfied with whatever privileges are given to him by the mercy of the Lord. And then Prabhupada brings in this discussion of the ongoing quarrel between the communists and capitalists. It's an ideological quarrel. Human beings are meant to quarrel like cats and dogs. They must be intelligent enough to realize the importance and aim of human life. Vedic literature is meant for humanity, not for cats and dogs. Cats and dogs can kill other animals for food without incurring sin. But if a man kills an animal for the satisfaction of his uncontrolled taste buds, he is responsible for breaking the laws of nature. Consequently, he must be punished. That doesn't mean we should just become a vegetarian and stop with that. That is not the point. The point is we need to carry out the rules and regulations of the Vedic literature and become a devotee of the Lord. The human being is therefore required to recognize the authority of the Supreme Lord and become his devotee. He must offer everything for the Lord's service and partake only of the remnants of food offered to the Lord. This will enable him to discharge his duty properly. Is deliberate disobedience to the laws of nature through disregarding the proprietorship of the Lord. Disobeying the laws of nature or the order of the Lord brings ruin to a human being. Conversely, one who is sober, who knows the laws of nature, and who is not influenced by unnecessary attachment or aversion, is sure to be recognized by the Lord, and thus becomes eligible to go back to Godhead, back to eternal home. Does anyone have any question on anything on what has been discussed so far? These are simple points, but they are very profound also.
I have a question, Prabhuji.
Okay.
So, Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam. So, based on that verse. So, if the material energy and everything comes from the Lord, so does that also mean that the energies will also share the same properties as the Lord? And if yes, then let's say Krishna is Satchidananda, but the material energy is not Satchidananda. So then how is it Purna, coming from Purna?
Everything has emanated in different ways. We learn from Bhagavatam, Loki, that this world is comparable to darkness. Just as shadow is also caused ultimately by the sun, but a shadow does not share all the features of the sun. So in that way, the living entity's experience of the material world, that is a delusion. Material world by itself is real, but you can say it is a sort of virtual reality that has been created by the Supreme Lord. It is complete in the sense that whatever we require for our subsistence is presented by the Lord. It is not complete like the Vaikuntha Jagat. It is not complete in that sense. But it is complete in the sense that everything that we require to become kritartha, complete, perfect, is already provided here. And it's very interesting that each Brahmanda itself contains everything required for both bhoga and moksha. There are two reasons why the Supreme Lord creates this universe. This is noted in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 87. Sukadeva Goswami explains that the Supreme Lord provides this world for two reasons, either for the living entities to enjoy or for them to become liberated. Actually, Krishna's wish is, even if you do want to enjoy, you please enjoy, but you please in such a manner that you get out of this miserable world and come back to me. So every Brahmanda itself contains everything required for that purpose. Okay, I think I see a question here. Sundar, wait, Sundar Gopal Prabhu. Yes. Question: how do I lower his hand? I'm a little bit lost here. Okay, participants, I got it. Got it. Okay, Sundar Gopal Prabhu has a question. His hand should be lowered. Please do that. And unmute him if he is muted.
Ji.
Yes.
Hare
Sundar
Krishna.
Gopal.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Yes. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, please accept my humble obeisance to Vidvan Gaurang Prabhu and all the devotees here. So, I just want to clarify one thing, that regarding this quota, I just want to understand regarding this part of quota, because Prabhuji, you have said about the Varnashram principle, but practically in Kali Yuga, following Varnashram principle is almost like it's not the idealistic way of following Varnashram principle is not possible, what as I understand. So now within this compromised Varnashram structure, can we follow this Ishavashram principle as our previous acharyas like Bhaktivinoda Thakur has mentioned here?
See, Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself demonstrated how to live a life in Kali Yuga. He very much appeared in Kali Yuga only. He didn't appear in Satya Yuga. And he demonstrated how to live a life. And he was living not as a resident of some monastery or something. He lived a life as a member of the external world. He was a district magistrate. He had a family, a large family, in fact, which was very common those days. Which means that he was greatly responsible. He was not some irresponsible person. he ensured that all of his family members did whatever they were supposed to do, and he did everything whatever he's supposed to do for the family members also. He was very, very responsible, and he showed how you can practice Krishna Bhakti and progress in Krishna consciousness. There are 30 duties of a human being, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he writes that when Lord Nityananda Prabhu, it comes in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Lord Nityananda Prabhu instructs some thieves, some people were, Lord Nityananda Prabhu delivered some thieves at one point. It comes in Chaitanya Bhagavat, when Lord Chaitanya sent him to preach in Bengal. And then he told them that please give up all these sinful activities, all these immoral, sinful activities. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur remarks, this means one should carry out the common duties of a human being. Common duties means irrespective of gender, varna, and ashrama, irrespective of all of that, there are certain duties which are common for all. Show you that. Show you. It comes in Bhagavatam, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur has referred to this. Okay, comes in 7th canto, 11th chapter, texts 8 to 12. These are the general principles to be followed by all human beings: truthfulness, mercy, austerity, observing fasts on certain days of the month, bathing twice a day, tolerance, discrimination between right and wrong, control of the mind, control of the senses, non-violence, celibacy, charity, reading of scripture, simplicity, satisfaction, rendering service to saintly persons, gradually taking leave of unnecessary engagements, observing the futility of the unnecessary activities of human society, remaining silent and grave and avoiding unnecessary talk, considering whether one is the body or the soul, distributing food equally to all living entities, both men and animals, seeing every soul, especially in the human form, as a part of the Supreme Lord. So these are 21 principles. So these bring about Sattva Guna. These are sattvic duties. Then you have 9 principles. Hearing about the activities and instructions given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the shelter of the saintly persons, chanting about these activities and instructions, always remembering these activities and instructions, trying to render service, performing worship, offering obeisances, becoming a servant, becoming a friend, and surrendering one's whole self. So this is Navvidha Bhakti. So you have 9 transcendental activities and 21 sattvic activities. O King Yudhishthira, these 30 qualifications must be acquired in the human form of life. Simply by acquiring these qualifications, one can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said, one should accept a source of livelihood that does not contradict this. That is called Nishpapa Jivan, a sinless life. It is more commonly referred to as Shukla Vritti, morally pure livelihood. So it is possible to live like this. It is possible to make spiritual progress if we carry out the instructions of Upadeshamrita. Upadeshamrita is applicable for Grihasthas and Girityagis under the guidance of more advanced devotees, under the guidance of the spiritual master. Certainly one can make spiritual progress. We cannot put the excuse that we are householders in today's world. Means nothing. If the Grihasthas follow Bhaktivinoda Thakur and the Girityagis follow Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, then the issues are resolved. Okay, any other question? Okay. Sundar Gopal Prabhu has a further, please ask. I just don't know how to lower the hand in this. Okay, anyway, please. Yes, please ask your question. I think he has to be unmuted. I don't know how to. I don't seem to have the ability to unmute him. Paramsundar Prabhu, you should do something about this. There's also another question. What should I do now? Okay, Paramsundar Prabhu seems to be unavailable, but I have a question from him here in the chat box. Here, while referring to the animal kingdom, in a way, Srila Prabhupada is talking of the transgression of the laws of nature and its consequences. Kindly explain this concept. Prabhupada is talking about the idea that human beings will be forced to experience the consequences of their activities. There is something called consideration of morality for human beings. For animals, it does not exist. Animals are just experiencing their karmic reactions. But human beings, they will have to face the reactions for the activities that they do. If they do proper things, they'll be rewarded in their next life, in the current life and next life. If they commit sinful activities, then they will be punished in this life and later on. That is the point that Prabhupada makes it here. Okay, Paramsundar Prabhu, are you there?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm there.
Okay, see, there were some questions here. Sundar Gopal Prabhu had a question, then Vamshi had a question.
Shall I unmute them?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
See, they're all adults. They are not children. I think we can just unmute everyone and just request them to keep themselves mute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam.
And
Prabhuji, in continuation to the same explanation what I had given earlier, so my question is like it is explained that the quantity or the quota is fixed, right? That is what you had explained, right? Sometimes by virtue of his past karmas or something, he may be destined to get so much of things, or maybe like he may be underprivileged, right? So how one should know what is the quantity or what is the quota that he is supposed to use? It can be anything, and I just want some guidance. My question is clear, Prabhuji?
Yeah, see, one principle is Prabhupada often said that we should donate 50% of our income in the service of the spiritual master and Lord Krishna. More or less, nobody does it. And more or less, everybody is suffering. The Christian standard is 10%. In America, there is a movement that we should start donating 1%. I saw a website, give1%.com. So I think that we can start with 1%. Krishna sees percentage. He doesn't actually see the amount. There was during Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, There was this devotee, Kolavecha Sridhar, already very poor, very much below poverty line. Still 50% he gave it for service of Ganga Devi. And Lord Chaitanya was so pleased with him. It's not a question of rich or poor. It's a question of the mind. If you have that much faith in Krishna, then you will not have a problem. But the problem is we don't have full faith in Krishna. If we have absolute faith in Krishna, just like small children have absolute faith in their parents, just observe 4 or 5-year-old children. Absolute faith in mommy, daddy. Absolute faith. So do we have that kind of faith in Radha Krishna that they will take care of me? They know better than me what I need. We are paranoid. We are paranoid. We should start giving. When you give, then you understand how much Krishna will give you back. Krishna is more interested in making us happy than we can imagine. He knows what we materially need also. So we should not try to become over intelligent. Just like a small child does not know what that child needs, we also don't know what we need. Materially, spiritually, both ways Krishna knows. He knows better than us. So why are we trying to take charge? It's like a small child, if he says, I need to earn money for financial security. In a place like India, where parents actually love their children more than themselves, it is a joke. So like that, Krishna is also having a good laugh. When we say, no, I need to take care of myself and I'll donate some 0.5% to you. It's a joke because he knows better than us what we need. When Prabhupada was asked once, why is sometimes there are Krishna takes away things from humanity. Why is he doing that? And then he said that because Krishna loves us, he knows what we need. And sometimes it is important to take things away. And then he gave this example. He said, when he was a householder, he saw one of the neighboring ladies one day beating one child. And then when they inquired, they found out that the doctor had there were 2 sons, and she was beating the elder son because the younger son was sick, and the doctor had said he should not eat because he was being put under certain medication. And for the medicine to work, he should not eat from this time to this time. But that boy was always asking for something to eat, and the elder brother secretly came and gave something to eat. So the mother got angry and she was beating. So Prabhupada said, see, the child should not be given something for his own good. So like that, Krishna knows that sometimes poverty is important for us. It will help us materially and spiritually. So Krishna will sometimes make us poor. We should leave it at that. That's all. Krishna knows better than me what I require. First principle we should understand is he is the supreme Bhokta, supreme Ishvara, supreme Sukrit. He is the greatest enjoyer. He is the greatest controller. And he is the most affectionate person. He is the greatest Sukrit. We cannot love anyone as much as Krishna loves them. We should leave it, accept it. So in that way, the quota issue is dealt with. There is something called Shadanga Sharanagati, 6 items of surrender. There's a songbook by Bhaktivinoda Thakur called Sharanagati. If you carefully examine each song, then you understand the implications of surrender to Krishna. At the time of initiation, when we externally fall at the lotus feet of the Vaishnava spiritual master, internally we are supposed to surrender to Krishna according to 6 principles. So when we surrender to Krishna, Krishna actually accepts us as his own. From that time onwards, Krishna accepts that he will take charge of us. Of course, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, if you put on a show of surrender to Krishna, externally we surrender to the Guru and externally in front of all the Vaishnavas we promise so many things and internally we don't, then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, Krishna will also cheat you in the same way. He will also give you the impression that he is taking care of you nicely and he'll make sure you don't make any spiritual progress. He'll provide you Guru association, Vaishnava association, he'll give you this, give you that, and make sure you don't progress. That's all. Because Shadvir Bhakti Pranashyati, Shadvir Bhakti Prasiddhyati. Through 6 activities we go down, through 6 activities we go up. So it is not time which makes us more advanced in Krishna consciousness. So I may be 30, 40 years, chanting Hare Krishna and so-called senior, but I might be progressing and regressing. Progressing, regressing. So I may be in the same stage. My lust, anger, greed may not have disappeared at all. They might have become greater also. Because by pouring water, if the weeds are growing and the Bhakti creeper is not growing, and what is the point? So you cannot say, oh, he's been watering since 40 years. But what has been growing, that you have to see, So we need to think about it, about all this. We need to organize our lives. Ultimately, we have to give Krishna the chance to help us progress towards him. Okay, there was somebody else who had a question. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam. Prabhuji, that's a question which I wrote in the chat box, which was asking about the transgression. And I will read one para from Srila Prabhupada's purport, wherein Srila Prabhupada is saying that animals do not eat more, they do not take beyond their prescribed quota, wherein if one is vegetarian, he should not be proud of being a strict vegetarian. Animals do not have developed consciousness by which to recognize the Lord, but human beings are sufficiently intelligent to take lessons from the Vedic literature and thereby know how the laws of the nature are working and derive profit out of such knowledge. And 3-4 lines thereafter, while Srila Prabhupada is saying that it's your duty, you partake the prasadam, which is a remnant of the food which is ordered to the Lord. And then he concludes this by saying this will enable him to discharge his duty properly. So I believe this part you have just explained in much deeper way. Prabhuji, if you could please touch upon this as to what is this transgression, transmigration we know, and how the laws of the nature work. I believe that would be the basic. If you could please explain this philosophy, this concept. So in a way, we can also say that the quota for animals is the eating, mating, sleeping, and wherein the quota, if we say what is quota for humans, so with this line that this enables him to discharge his duty, so therefore there is no quota for humans. Is this understanding correct, Prabhuji?
No. The idea is that, okay, it is like this. Let me explain it like this. Just like there is a school, okay. Suppose, just as there are many people who want to set up a school in some village to bring about education in that village, to develop that village, all these things they have in their mind. So they set up a school. Now, what does it actually mean to enroll in a school? To enroll in a school means many things. First of all, we have to learn different things. We have to sit for various assessments, examinations, and when we pass, then we are upgraded to the next level. There are several levels. Until you come to the point where you graduate from the school. And when you graduate from the school, the idea is that you are ready in some general sense for a livelihood. So for that, they have a final exam. But in between, they have several intermediate exams. In India, we have standards: first standard, second standard, third standard, fourth standard, all the way up to 10th standard. Then you have either something like a +1 or 11 or 12 or something like that. Now, the final exam is not given to the first standard student. The student will definitely fail. So therefore, they are only given that level. So now for that level, there is a particular syllabus. There are particular textbooks. And when you pass that, then the authorities in that structure, in that system, they appreciate you. If you do not pass that, you're automatically considered to be a failure. So in a similar manner, the Supreme Personality of Godhead also has created arrangements that a human being is far superior to animals. And the soul has left animal body and finally come to the human body. Then when he can progress further and further and further, and he can go all the way to the spiritual world. So at any particular level, there is a quota. Now, higher than humans are demigods and so on. Okay. And therefore, Krishna expects more and more from them. Similarly, when you directly come to the pathway of Bhakti Yoga, Krishna also expects very high standards from us. Because he's also providing that amount of training that is required. So when he provides that training, then he teaches us that you see, now that you have entered the pathway of Bhakti Yoga, you should surrender to the Supreme Lord. And there are different levels in Bhakti also. Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Vajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha, Ruchi. So here also, the test for Bhava Bhakti is not applied in the to us. Just at one level. At the time of initiation, for instance, we have entered into the stage called Bhajana Kriya. Then there is the next stage, Anartha Nivritti. So let us pass that exam like that. Or if you want to take it another way, take Upadeshamrita, for example. Starts with basic control of the body and mind. It ends up with Radha Kund in the spiritual world. Step by step. So that also we can see. I've been chanting Hare Krishna, practicing Krishna consciousness for so many days, weeks, months, years, decades. Have I passed the first exam? Vacho Vegam, Manasah Krodha Vegam, Jitva Vegam, Udaropastha Vegam. If not, what should I do in order to pass that? Let me go through those purports to understand how I need to organize my life so that I can pass that. Then the second exam, Atyahara, Prayasasya, Prajalpo, Niyamagra, Janasangasya. If directly you want to take up, for instance, the 8th verse, where you just absorb your mind and tongue in the service of the Lord or something like that. 7th verse, actually. The 8th verse is beyond that also, because you're completely absorbed in mind and samadhi, uninterrupted, like Tailadhara, like a flow of oil which doesn't even break. We are so far from that. But just as they will not, the school administration will not show a final exam question paper to the 12th exam question paper to a second standard student.
Second chance to, yeah.
Okay. But the student knows that the entire thing will mold me and make me capable. So no children in the lower stages are unnecessarily frightened. I have to study so much. Oh, I cannot go and play. So no paranoia is created. Because you just go through the system, it will bring you to that point. It will bring you to that point. So same way, Prabhupada also, when you were asked different questions about very complicated topics, he said, just follow it. Patiently follow it in the association of devotees, under the guidance of more advanced devotees, under the guidance of the spiritual master. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Now, of course, if we are obsessed with dharma, artha, kama, it will take several lifetimes. That is a fact. We have to decide whether we want bhukti or mukti or bhakti. If we want all three, it will take many lifetimes. If you want only mukti and bhakti, one lifetime. If you don't want bhukti and mukti, you want only bhakti, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Alpo dene bhavadaya hoy. Within a few days, you come to bhava bhakti. And within another few days, you attain praya bhakti. When you're in praya bhakti, you're already in samadhi. You don't even know when your body dies. Because you're already there. So it is up to us. To whatever degree that we are willing to pay, to that degree we get the benefit. And Nityananda Prabhu is inviting us. Come, 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 come. You're watching some black and white silent movie, and I'm going to show you some 16 million pixel color movie. Come. So the quota is simply the small set of rules and regulations appropriate to our status of current spiritual development. And there are different laws of nature that correspond to different levels. That's all. Okay.
Can have a follow-up question, though it's not related to what you just explained, but you pointed out that we have to have association of devotees, and that we understand that there are classes of devotees, Kanishtadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, Uttamadhikari. But what I understand, we all are, most of us are Kanishtadhikaris. So are they also, Prabhuji, devotees in the sense, in this context, Prabhuji, that we are Vaishnavas, right, Prabhuji? And most of us, as you correctly pointed out, we are just doing, practicing, or rather we have enrolled in the school knowing that there is something, there is a entire curriculum of which we have access. We may pass, we may fail, that's time will tell. As of now, we have admitted and we have a ticket to accordingly progress. So in this context, Prabhuji, how do we figure out as to the question is moreover related to the association, Prabhuji, as to how to figure out whether this person who I'm associating with is actually a Vaishnava, not yet a devotee, or is actually a devotee. How do we figure that out? Though the three stages are already there, but it becomes difficult to figure out for someone like me who's a neophyte devotee. You can explain that also, Prabhuji. Touch upon that.
What we need to do is, when we surrender to Krishna and we read the scriptures, for instance, Prabhupada's books, in a prayerful attitude, and we pray to Krishna to make us qualified to understand how to progress in Krishna consciousness. Seva adhikara diye koro nija dasi. Okay, very important that we understand that we require qualification. We want to progress, but we also want to become qualified to progress. Because if we are not qualified to progress, then even if it is given to me, I'll reject it, because it tastes bitter to me. So even let us say I pray to Krishna, Krishna, please help me make spiritual progress. And then the spiritual master says, all right, you should attentively increase your chanting. But that instruction is so bitter to us. So then when we pray to Krishna, please make me qualified to follow whatever instructions are required to come to you. Then that makes it even more realistic, because Krishna knows what will make me qualified for that. Okay. So when we pray to Krishna like that, then Krishna also arranges for the right type of devotee association. The center point in associating with Krishna's devotees is Krishna himself. We should never try to become Krishna conscious while forgetting Krishna. Even Vaishnava Seva, Guru Seva, everywhere, Krishna has to be there in the center. Even spiritual master, Amito Kangal, Krishna Krishna Boli Dhai Tava Pache Pache. Most important. We are serving the spiritual master to please Krishna. Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasada. If Bhagavad Prasada does not happen, then I am not interested in this. Even in the spiritual world, even Radharani's Manjaris, everyone wants to make Krishna happy. Why they want to serve Radha? Because Krishna will be more happy. He is the Vishaya Vigraha. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati used this expression. Vishaya means he is the predominator. We are all, we are meant to become Ashraya Vigraha. Radharani is the supreme Ashraya Vigraha, which means she is the predominated. She is the predominated aspect of the absolute truth. She is the supreme predominated. But Krishna alone is the predominator. So when we surrender to Krishna, following the 6 items of surrender, then Krishna himself enters into our life and he helps us, he makes us understand. He makes us understand. We should honor, first of all, we should respect everyone. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says we should respect all living entities because everybody is Krishna's child. Then on top of it, those who have been given human bodies, they should be respected even more, because without performing pious activities, one is not awarded a human body. So they have done some pious activity. Pious activity means they have done something in obedience to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dharma means obedience to God. Prabhupada says it very simply. Okay. So then amongst human beings, those who have accepted Vedic authority, they should be respected even more. Amongst them, those who accepted Krishna Bhakti and come to the mode of goodness, the Brahmanas, Brahmana Vaishnavas, they should be respected even more. Then those who become pure devotees of the Supreme Lord, then they should be respected even more. And those who become perfect in Krishna consciousness, we should fully serve them. So that hierarchy, it seems very hazy and blurry to us. The reason why it seems hazy and blurry to us is because we ourselves are blinded by our own various desires for kama, artha, dharma, and so on. That is what is blinding us. But when we pray to Krishna, see, because it's a catch-22 situation. No, I cannot see clearly, and therefore I cannot surrender to the right type of devotee, because of which I am not able to get out of that blinding situation. So Krishna knows this very well. Krishna knows this very well. So all he's waiting for is, when will you come and ask me to help you? You're trying to come to me, but you're trying to come to me without depending on me. Even for that, you have to depend on me. So the central point is Sharanagati. So we accept service to the spiritual master, to the Vaishnavas, everything, because we need to surrender to Krishna. So Krishna will arrange the right type of devotees, and then very easily we'll be able to recognize. Very easily we'll be able to recognize. It's not a complicated thing. Just like suppose I have some ear problem. I go to a doctor. Okay. So now if I'm very serious about getting my ear cured, then I will naturally understand which doctor is better, which doctor is not so good. So the more I'm result oriented, the more it will be easy for me to find out. But if I'm going to the hospital not really to get my ears cured, but just because the people sitting in the lobby are very interesting, then I'm just wasting my time. Which is okay. Instead of being depressed alone, you're sitting with some other human beings in a lobby. It is nice. Okay. But better than that would be to get your problem solved. Okay. If there are no more questions, I'll move on to the next verse. Okay, I'll move on to the next verse. I don't see any hands upraised. Mantra 2. Kurvaneveha karmani jivishet satam sama. Evam tvayi nanyate thostina karma lipyate nare. One may aspire to live for hundreds of years. If he continuously goes on working in that way, for that sort of work will not bind him to the law of karma. There is no alternative to this way for man. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's explanation. By explanation, I mean this is an English translation of information. When one performs his material duties after establishing everything in relation to the Supreme Soul, all of his activities are spiritual. Even if the living entity lives for hundreds of years, no defect can touch him. To sustain one's body, one certainly has to perform a material duty, karma. Otherwise, his life will instantly perish, or his self-sustenance won't be nice. If he can base his family life on continuous service to the Supreme Soul, Paramatmana Shilana, none of the material duties in relation to him have the characteristics of karma. They will have the characteristics of jnana or bhakti. All activities performed with the knowledge of the Supreme Soul are bhakti. Thus, Narada has said, bhakti or devotional service means engaging all our senses in the service of the Lord. The Supreme Personality of God is the master of all the senses. When the Spirit Soul renders service unto the Supreme, there are two side effects. One is freed from all material designations, and one's senses are purified simply by being employed in the service of the Lord. Prabhupada. Karma, akarma, and vikarma are very clearly described in the Bhagavad Gita. Actions that are performed in terms of one's prescribed duties, as mentioned in the revealed scriptures, are called karma. Actions that free one from the cycle of birth and death are called akarma. And actions that are performed through the misuse of one's freedom and that direct one to the lower life forms are called vikarma. Of these three types of action, that which frees one from the bondage to karma is preferred by intelligent men. Ordinary men wish to perform good work in order to be recognized and achieve some higher status of life in this world or in heaven, but more advanced men want to be free altogether from the actions and reactions of work. Intelligent men well know that both good and bad work equally bind one to the material miseries. Consequently, they seek that work which will free them from the reactions of both good and bad work. Such liberating work is described here in the pages of Sri Isopanishad. And then Prabhupada, he refers to certain verses of Bhagavad Gita which talk about a similar topic. Just a minute, I'll turn off my phone. There is no harm in becoming a family man or an altruist, a socialist, a communist, a nationalist, or a humanitarian, provided that one executes his activities in relation with Ishavasya, the God centered conception. In the Bhagavad Gita 2.40, Lord Krishna states that God centered activities are so valuable that just a few of them can save a person from the greatest danger. The greatest danger of life. The greatest danger of life is the danger of gliding down again into the evolutionary cycle of birth and death among the 8,400,000 species. If somehow or other a man misses the spiritual opportunity afforded by his, I am expecting something. It must be that. Please wait for a minute. I'll just get back to this. Please hold on, forgive me. It is unavoidable. Something in service to my spiritual master. 1 minute. Sorry. I may have to go again. Unavoidable. If somehow or other a man misses the spiritual opportunity afforded by his human form of life and falls down again into the evolutionary cycle, he must be considered most unfortunate. Due to his defective senses, a foolish man cannot see that this is happening. Consequently, Sri Isopanishad advises us to exert our energy in the spirit of Ishavasya. When altruistic activities are executed in the spirit of Sri Isopanishad, they become a form of karma yoga. Such activities are recommended in the Bhagavad Gita for they guarantee their executor protection from the danger of sliding down into the evolutionary process of birth and death. Even though such God-centered activities may be half finished, they are still good for the executor because they will guarantee him a human form in his next birth. In this way, one can have another chance to improve his position on the path of liberation. I need to deal with this. Sorry. I'll go for that. Okay. It's over. Okay, now one point to note is what Prabhupada refers to as Karma Yoga is actually a certain form of Krishna consciousness. Karma Yoga is also actually Krishna consciousness. When there's a technical expression for this, when our performance of material pious activities takes up most of our time. See, when we execute our material duties, sinless material duties, you cannot execute offenses and sinful activities. But if you execute your material duties, and those material duties of Krishna, and you execute those material duties with Krishna consciousness, but most of the time is going for these material duties, then that combination of activities is known as Karma Yoga. Yamunacharya has explained that yoga means a combination. So when you talk about Karma Yoga, it is that combination of activities where karma is predominant. And he points out the different elements of this combination. Karma is one component. Jnana is another component. Bhakti is another component. I'll come back. Krishna Karana Sindhu. Okay, so Yamunacharya has explained that there are three aspects. One is karma, one is jnana, one is bhakti. Jnana here refers to knowledge of the relationship between us, this material world, and the Supreme Lord. Karma refers to performing necessary material activities. Of course, they have to be sinless and free from offenses, but necessary material activities for our sustenance, for the sustenance of our dependents, and so on. Then bhakti refers to the actual activities of activities which please the Supreme Lord, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Bhadasevam, Archanam, Vandanam, and so on. It's just bhakti. So now yoga refers to a combination of karma and jnana and bhakti. But karma yoga refers to that combination when karma is predominant, which means most of our time goes in that. And then you have bhakti yoga. In bhakti yoga, bhakti is predominant. Karma is not predominant. And then there is pure bhakti yoga. In pure bhakti yoga, you don't have time for, oh, it says my network bandwidth is low, so what I'll do is I'll turn off my video. That's what I should do. But in pure bhakti yoga, there is no time for karma or jnana. In other words, this is like how the Goswamis live. Like Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, like how Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur lived. These are called Nirapeksha Vaishnavas. They don't depend on any other activity. They simply want to satisfy Krishna. like it is like Goswamis. Let's just consider it like that. So that is pure bhakti yoga. So you have karma yoga, then higher to it is bhakti yoga, then higher to it is pure bhakti yoga. So when we execute pure bhakti yoga also has multiple stages: pure sadhana bhakti, pure bhava bhakti, pure prema bhakti. So that pure sadhana bhakti, that is the green mango. So the whole idea is how to become qualified to make spiritual progress from karma predominant situation to bhakti predominant situation to pure bhakti. And then of course from pure sadhana bhakti to pure bhava bhakti to pure prema. So that has been taught by Srila Rupa Goswami and clarified by his followers. Prabhupada, how one can execute God-centered activities is elaborately mentioned in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami. We rendered this book into English as the Nectar of Devotion. We recommend this valuable book to all who are interested in performing their activities in the spirit of Sri Isopanishad. Okay, any questions? No questions? Okay, I'll move on to the next verse. The next mantra, mantra 3. Asurya namate loka andhena tamasavritah tamste pretyabhigachanti yeke chatmana hano janah. The killer of the soul, whoever he may be, must enter into the planets known as the worlds of the faithless, full of darkness and ignorance. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. For those who do not perform karma to attain piety, who do not engage in pious activities to attain renunciation, and those who do not take shelter of renunciation for spiritual engagement, all of their karma, piety, and renunciation are selfish by nature. In other words, they only bring about sensual satisfaction. They don't assist in spiritual engagements. Therefore, their lives are similar to death. The Bhagavatam says, Nehayat karma dharmaya na viragaya kalpate na tirthapada sevayai jivannapi mritohisa. Anyone whose work is not meant to elevate him to religious life, anyone whose religious ritualistic performances do not raise him to renunciation, and anyone situated in renunciation that does not lead him to devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be considered dead, although he is breathing. Now, these are all certain very key teachings of Thakur Bhaktivinoda. That, see, there are different stages referred to here. One stage is referred to as karma, which here refers to a state of piety. Actually, piety is referred to by the word dharma here, dharmaya. The next stage is viraga. The next stage is devotion service to the Supreme Lord. So the whole idea is this: we may execute our material activities. Now, what is meant by material activity? A simple way to explain what material activity is: that by which our 6 urges are satisfied is a material activity. An activity that aims at fulfilling the 6 urges is a material activity. Now, those activities may be in line with the Vedas or they may not be in line with the Vedas. If they are in line with the Vedas, they are called pious activities, pious material activities. If they are opposed to the teachings of the Vedas, they are called impious material activities. Okay. So now when we perform various activities, material activities can generate kama, but higher than kama is artha. Artha means money. And money is something with which we can get enhanced karma. Karma refers to favorable or positive experience of sound, touch, form, taste, smell. This is how technically it is described in the Vedantic scriptures. This is what karma means. Okay, sense enjoyment is Prabhupada's summary description of karma, of all types, But artha, money, it can bring about enhanced karma. Same way, there is something higher than artha also, and that is called sukriti, or it is also called dharma in the sense of sadhya dharma. Pious credits. Prabhupada uses this expression. Punya is a very common expression used in India. So what is punya? Punya is a sort of virtual currency, subtle currency. If you execute certain activities, you get certain plus points that the demigods give you. If you engage in paropakar, actually, if you engage in material paropakar, then you get some plus points. Those plus points are called punya. Punya is given far greater importance than artha. First of all, we know that artha is more important than kama, because kama without artha is very low class material experience of happiness. It's artha with kama that gives it a class. Then you can live stylishly. It is what materialistic people will consider to be standard life, artha kama. But then from the perspective of the Vedas, life of kama by itself is useless. And it is accepted that artha kama is superior to kama. But the life of dharma artha kama is even superior to the life of artha kama. How is that? Because not only do you have a comfortable life, not only do you have financial prosperity, you have punya with you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, sorry to interrupt. Prabhuji, please explain this concept again, this karma, artha, and sukriti.
Yeah, I'm coming. So, what is this punya, sukriti? What is this thing about it? Because it is a pious credit, it will stick to your subtle body. So even in your next life, you will experience the benefits of it. See, I may be a millionaire in this life, but after I die, in my next life, I cannot access this bank account. It's gone. It is gone. Chole gelo. Chole geche. Gone case. There was a case in Thailand, someone proved that he was a previous personality in his past life. He even went to the court and gave evidence. They said, sorry, that bank account is only for one lifetime. You cannot access it in your next life, even if you happen to be that person. Because there are children who remember past life. It's a common matter. It's investigated by scientists also. So you cannot access your previous lifetime's artha, but punya will be with you. And just as artha can give you enhanced karma, punya can give you enhanced artha karma itself. So therefore, in Vedic civilization, the stress is so much on punya that they tell you, tone down your artha, tone down your karma even more. Because if you should enjoy, you should enjoy nicely, not just enjoy. So this is very, very appealing to the materialistic mind. So this is how the Karma Kanda scriptures talk. But there is something higher than that. When one attains spiritual maturity, he understands that kama or arthakama or dharma arthakama, they do not actually fully satisfy the soul, because they are, ultimately speaking, they are material, and the spirit soul is spiritual. The jivatma, the atma, is a conscious being. He cannot be made happy just with all these external material arrangements, gross or subtle, whatever it may be. So then he starts to desire and hanker for liberation. And for that, he needs to cultivate renunciation. external renunciation and internal detachment. That's called vairagya. And here you see the word viragaya. Viragaya is derived from the Sanskrit word viraga, which is similar to the word vairagya. Okay, so then material activities that do not lead to dharma or pious credits are bad. And even if you have pious credits, if you do not develop renunciation and detachment, then this is actually spoken to Devi. And Devahuti Devi says, even then it is bad. Because just like in a school, there are different stages. There's primary school, there is high school, and then there is higher secondary school. So in the initial stage, the Vedic scriptures just push you towards dharma, sukriti. And then after you become mature, then they tell you, no, but this is not going to help you. That is where the Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita and all these scriptures come in and say, no, dukkhalayam ashashvatam, come on, what is this? Okay. So if you try to enjoy without dharma, that is like being arrested with an iron shackles. And when you enjoy material life through dharma, even now you're still arrested, just that you have golden shackles. But whether it is iron shackles or golden shackles, you're still arrested soul. You're a criminal. They start talking all these kind of things. Okay. So now a mature soul will grasp it. So then he will then go for the next goal, which is vairagya. External renunciation, internal detachment. But then, even with this, what is the goal of this renunciation detachment? It is simply to get out of material existence. Okay, after you get out of material existence, where do you go? What happens? So actually, after that, there is a status called pure bhakti, service to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. We are meant to go to the spiritual world to serve Him for His pleasure only. So that is the ultimate goal. So the first goal is just ordinary sukriti. The second goal is how to attain renunciation detachment. But the final goal is how to attain pure devotion service unto the Supreme Personality of God. So Devahuti Devi says, one who hasn't passed through these three stages is considered dead even though he is breathing. Jivan napi mrito hi saha. The soul of the living entity who acts like this is almost destroyed in matter. Therefore, they can be called killers of themselves. See, Atmahano Janaha, the killer of the soul, killers of themselves. Such self-killing persons gradually attain a demoniac nature. They abandon the divine nature that is natural to the soul. Therefore, establish a relationship with the Supreme Soul in every manner while in material existence and carry out your karma in the form of bodily maintenance. Then those activities will be called karma in name only, where nature would have transformed into menial service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in other words, these very activities which tend to bind us, when we utilize them under the guidance of more advanced devotees and under the shelter of the perfect pure Vaishnavas, the Acharya Parampara, then those activities become helpful in progressing towards pure devotion service to Krishna. That is the point. Okay, I should stop with this now. Tomorrow I'll resume from the purport to this mantra. Okay, anyone has any question? You just have 1 minute, but otherwise we'll continue tomorrow.
Hare Krishna. So if anyone has any question, you can simply unmute and ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, so.
Plus, I just had this one question as you were telling about Sukruti. So, as we have always heard that Sukruti is always helping us to move ahead in this bhakti. So, can you define, as you tell, after Sukruti there is detachment, and after detachment there is bhakti. We have always heard that Sukruti is only the thing that is helping us in bhakti to move ahead. So, how we can understand it?
No. I'm talking here when we talk of Sukriti, we are talking of material Sukriti. Ordinary material Sukriti. Within Bhakti Yoga, we talk about Agyata Sukriti, unknown Sukriti. But this is actually the sort of Sukriti which impels a person to take up Bhakti Yoga. Okay. But the Sukriti or the Dharma that is discussed here, it is just ordinary Sukriti. Ordinary Sukriti is very important for helping grossly materialistic people advance one level higher. Because if you want to attain that material Sukriti, you will have to think about how to help everyone. Paropakara punyaya, papaya parapidanam. The essence of sinful activity is disturbing everyone. And the essence of pious activity, material dharma, is helping everyone materially. So that's where we come in, and therefore in these Karma Kanda scriptures, a lot of importance is given to feeding the hungry. Grihasthas are duty bound to do all these things. Why they are duty bound to do this? The whole idea is, otherwise you will only take care of yourself and those who are dependent on you. But if you move out and you do this, then you get material Sukriti. And this material Sukriti is superior currency, money. What is greater money? It is all caps money. So for materialistic souls, this is very important to understand. Even within ISKCON, many of our devotees simply don't understand the meaning of punya. It's just material punya, that's all. Just like people go to Kumbh Mela. Okay. They want to take bath. They're not interested in spirituality and all that. But they have faith that if they do this properly, they'll become rich and so on. And it is correct. It is correct. It is not wrong. Because if you accept these austerities, then you will get plus points. And these plus points will benefit you in this very life and later on. It will not give you benefit immediately. When you perform material dharma, you will not be benefited immediately. Why? Because you have reactions from past life coming. When you execute material pious activities or you execute sinful activities, the results are experienced in this life and later on. Now, this and later on is important because in the let us say this lifetime I execute some material pious activity. I will be benefited later on in this life. And in my next life, further installment is coming. Similarly, if I execute a sinful activity now, then I'll get some amount of suffering in this life. But future also, I will get the next installment or installments. It may drag on for many lifetimes also. Okay. So in my next lifetime, let's say I choose to execute pious activities. So let's say this lifetime I stole some money. Okay. I stole some money from my own brothers and sisters. So let's say I stole 1 lakh. So now in this very life, I will lose some money. And in future lifetimes, I may lose even more money. I may lose 1 crore also from my own brothers and sisters. Okay. Now that is destined to happen. Now let's say next lifetime, somehow we become spiritually enlightened and we decide, oh, no, I will not steal any money. I'll be honest. I'll do all these things. And you start giving in charity. If you give in charity, you will also become rich. That's a fact. But you will not become instantly rich because previous lifetime you stole money. So you are supposed to lose that money, no? So that money will be lost. But then if you have started to give in charity, then later on in life, maybe after 20, 30, 40 years, you will get money. And the installment will continue next lifetime. So it's a full combination of plus and minus, plus and minus, plus and minus, it goes on. So when one becomes spiritually mature, then he doesn't want to do with the plus or minus. It's just like if you got diabetes now, you want to avoid sugar, whether it is nicely cooked sugar sweet or badly cooked sugar sweet. So this material Sukriti is just nicely cooked sugar sweet. So we understand it when we are blessed by the spiritual master and great Vaishnavas, that understanding develops into us. So that Sukriti is only material Sukriti that we are talking of here. It is not the spiritual Sukriti that is helpful to progress greatly in Krishna consciousness. Okay, then there are more questions. There is I
Okay,
can.
Yeah, so we'll go with Shaili Goyal Mataji first.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam. Am I properly audible, Prabhuji?
Yes, I
Yes.
can hear.
Prabhuji, actually, I have been, I'm connected with SCON for not so long, but just a 1 year only. But when we speak about doing pure bhakti and these things like renunciation and vairagya, being in a grahastha, most of the time I get the same thought. Will a grahastha be ever be able to do a pure bhakti, because we are not inclined towards vairagya or renunciation or detachment, because we have responsibilities and family. So if, and as per the verse here says, if you are not doing pure bhakti, if you are still doing the karma or artha, then you have to go in this round and round circle of life and birth. So what is the solution for the grastas to do pure bhakti here?
See, when we execute Krishna consciousness by following the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, then naturally we develop an attraction for Krishna Bhakti. Naturally. So when that happens, we ourselves become more and more qualified to become pure. Now, right now in our situation, we may not, we may find it almost impossible to dream of it. But that is what I'm saying. Just like a second standard student, if by mistake comes across some IIT JEE model question paper, and hears that all of this has to be answered within I don't know, 3 hours or 4 hours, and you know, first of all, nobody will discuss these things with that child, because the whole idea is how to make that child eventually become qualified for that. So that is how Krishna is thinking about us. He wants to help us grow up. So we don't need to be in unnecessary anxiety about all these things. Krishna knows what we want, what we don't want, what we should want, what we should not want. He knows us better than us. He's taking care of us materially for millions of lifetimes. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vidhati kaman. He's the one who's arranging for all of this. So we don't need to be unnecessarily paranoid and terrified. Oh, what will happen? My whole house will go away, and will I become another Mirabai? Or you don't need to be paranoid about all these things. Everything will be well taken care of. Everything will be well taken care of. We should just be clear about the goal. We can just pray to Krishna. I don't know what is this pure bhakti that keeps coming about in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. But whatever it is, please make me qualified to serve you in a secure manner. That's all.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
It's not that when Krishna comes, he'll come in some terrifying form. He knows better than us what we want. I'm telling you, he knows us better than us. We don't even remember what we wanted last life. In fact, that itself is a problem, because Krishna is always sensitive to each and every desire that we have, and he wants to fulfill that. And we are the ones who are creating our own trouble, actually. How many times we might have gone in front of Krishna or Ram or Narayan in the past, or simply just in the middle of nowhere, pray to God, my dear God, if you exist, please listen to this prayer. I want this problem solved. And you might have thought nobody is listening, but Krishna is listening. He always wants to listen. And that he has noted it down. And after 25 years, you think, what a silly, stupid thing that was. I don't want it to be fulfilled. But Krishna is not going to just suddenly delete it off the list just because suddenly you have changed your mind. So we are the ones creating our own trouble. We are like small children who ask for, first give me this, and then mommy goes and gets this. And then afterwards, say, no, I want the other one. And okay, fine. She goes and gets the other one. Then you say, no, you don't know me at all, and I want the other one. And then she goes on giving. So Krishna is more affectionate than millions of fathers and mothers. So he knows what we need. He knows what we need. He knows beyond what we even imagine that we don't even know what we need. So surrendering unto Krishna's lotus feet can never be wrong. Surrendering to a Jivatma who, whether he may be a devotee or not, that may be a question mark. But surrendering to Krishna himself can never ever be wrong. Never ever be wrong. So we should just let it go. He knows better than us what is good for us. Okay.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Amit Prabhuji, you can ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, 3-4 questions. I'll structure them, Prabhu. The first question is just follow-up question of what you just answered. Krishna knows everything, Prabhuji, even within and beyond. So, what actually, or what should we pray to Krishna in our prayers, Prabhuji? That's one question. Second question.
We will go one by one. We'll go one by one.
All right, Prabhuji.
The prayer to ask Lord Krishna is, actually the best prayer is this: my dear energy of Lord Krishna and my dear Lord Krishna, please engage me in your devotional service. This is the best prayer. This is the meaning of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There are several beautiful prayers found in the writings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I stress Bhaktivinoda Thakur because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent him to show householders how to live a life. Imagine if Bhaktivinoda Thakur did not appear. We would simply have a heart attack when we hear the expression pure devotional service. Because you don't know what it means. Does it mean only what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur taught? My God. So we can read the different songs of Thakur Bhaktivinoda. Actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur songs can be converted into various languages also. He's a person who, when you read his writings, you first of all understand that he understands us. He's a very understanding person. Okay, then.
Prabhuji, next question is that we understand that all the jivas, this is with reference to text 1. We discussed that we understand, Prabhuji, that all the living entities, either they are mukta, nitya mukta, that is said when they are in spiritual world, and they are nitya baddha when they are contaminated or when they've come in contact with the matter and have come to the material world. In this, Prabhuji, with all that we have discussed and with also that what should we pray, if we have to realize what is, if I have to realize what is my spiritual identity, what is that, Prabhuji, and how to approach that aspect? I believe first step would be to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, take shelter, perform faithful services to the Lord. Beyond that, Prabhuji, if that understanding is correct, and beyond that, if you could guide me.
See, one can have a relationship with the Supreme Lord as a servant. I'm talking of a servant, a relationship in pure devotion, service, and love for Krishna in the following ways: as a servant, as a friend, as a parent figure, or as his beloved wife or a fiance, like that. Okay. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has explained that each of the higher rasa includes all the features of the lower rasas. So, in other words, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says Jiver Swarupai Krishner Nitya Das, all the living entities are eternal servants of Krishna, that is literally true. Because even if you happen to be like a mother-like figure, like an aunt or something like that of Krishna in the spiritual world, you still need to have the features of the lower rasa, which is friendship, and you need to have the features of a dasa, a servant. So ultimately, all of us are servants. We cannot make any mistake about that. That is the lowest common denominator. So that has to be the fact. So in Sharanagati, that fact is repeatedly stressed. that we should recognize that we are meant to serve the Supreme Lord. All along, we are trying to get the Supreme Lord to serve us. But instead of it, it should be the reverse. I should be serving him. This conception comes to us when pure devotees of the Lord have an influence on us and we do not commit offenses to them. Then that conception comes to our mind that actually I should be doing activities to please Krishna. So gradually we come to that point. I'm not saying we come to the point means from 0% instantly we come to 100%, but gradually 1%, 2%, gradually.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, last is just a clarification. We discussed that's karma, artha, and sukrati, and then we discussed various commutation permutation. One was artha punya kama, and then other was artha kama and dharma artha kama. Prabhuji, if you could please outline these different commutations once so that we can.
No. What I said was, see, that is material life. Okay, let me explain like this. There is something called bhukti. Bhukti means material enjoyment. And then there's something else called mukti, liberation. And then there's something else third called bhakti, service to Lord Krishna. Okay. Bhukti means material enjoyment, but bhukti is of 3 different grades. First class, second class, third class. First class means you take into account dharma and artha and kama. Second class means you do not take into account dharma, but you take into account artha and kama. Third class means you don't take into account dharma or artha, but only kama. Just like the hippies and all that. You simply want to enjoy whatever, that's all. That is their interest in kama only. They're not interested in artha kama. Whereas those who want to become wealthy and they want to have a comfortable life, these people are interested in artha and kama. Right. And then you have some who are interested in a comfortable life. They also want wealth, but they also want this material sukriti they want. So therefore they give in charity, they go to the different temples. In India, overall, people instinctively, they know this, that we must do this, we must do all these things because it will somehow benefit me in my future in this life or next life or both or whatever. Somehow people have this concept and it's correct actually. All right.
Right, Prabhuji. So this is 3 classes in bhukti. Similar classes, Prabhuji, in mukti and bhakti.
For mukti, there are 5 levels of mukti. Right, there is impersonal liberation. Then there are 4 types of personal liberation. That comes in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Right, Prabhuji. Some other time. Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. So we thank Vidvan Gaurang Prabhuji for day 1 of Isopanishad. So with the commentary of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Prabhupada. So I hope the devotees relished it. And we'll chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and we'll wait another 23 hours or 22 and a half hours to resume session 2. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
So tomorrow, we'll see you all tomorrow at 7 p.m. same time. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.